just her second season, and she's already set the all-time WNBA career record with her sixth 25-point, 10-assist game. Caitlin Clark is the truth. She's the real deal, and she's not going anywhere.
6 records broken, 1 point short of a win. That sliver of lining between triumph and tragedy became a reality across Indiana's heart the night Caitlin Clark rewrote the WNBA record book.
Proud of our fight. The toughness that we showed, our ability to stay together. Our bench was really engaged in every timeout and in every huddle. We were all engaged.
In 40 turbocharged minutes, she detonated 6 league records, launching logo threes that looked ripped from a video game cheat code and rifling passes so wicked they startled her own teammates.
Dug themselves into a early hole here. Clark looking to get going. Oh, that's a deep three!
Clark was on triple-double watch the whole game. GameBridge Fieldhouse thundered with every splash until the final scoreboard slapped 91-90 in Atlanta's favor, freezing the celebration mid-cheer.
Caitlin Clark finished with 27 points and 11 assists, but it wasn't enough as the Fever lost 91-90 to the Dream.
How did history turn into heartbreak? Start with 10 missed Fever free throws, free in name only, then add a parade of whistles that felt allergic to contact on Clark drives. Coach Stephanie White torched both of her challenges before halftime, and Clark's boyfriend fired off a viral tweet roasting the officiating while fans flooded timelines with slow-motion evidence. One last Aaliyah Boston option got snuffed. Natasha Howard's putback kissed iron, and just like that, greatness became a footnote to frustration. Yet inside that 1-point gut punch lies something far more dangerous for the rest of the WNBA, proof that a still gelling Fever squad can shatter records on an off night.
Yes, this stinks. We want to win this game. But, I think this is great for our team. A little adversity. How are we going to respond? How are we going to come in here tomorrow morning and watch the film and learn and get on the court and get better? And like I said, that's why this league is so great. You have a couple days and then you get right back to it. You find a way to respond. We have a chance to go there and play them, actually, so it's even better, I guess. We can, get a little redemption if we go down there and play well.
Fix the freebies, tighten the rotations, and the league's balance of power tilts red and navy in a hurry. But that's not all. What came next sent ripples through every front office and put the Stripes under a spotlight hotter than Clark's shooting hand. The night began like a slow burn nightmare. Atlanta blitzed Indiana with a 31-point first quarter, draining jumpers before the Fever even found their footing. By the time the scoreboard screamed double digits, Gainbridge Fieldhouse felt less like a home court and more like a pressure cooker. Phones lighting up, fans already fist clenching at the refs as foul after foul piled on. Yet somewhere between the jeers and the whistles, Caitlin Clark flipped the script. A step back triple from the logo that detonated the crowd, then a no-look dime threaded between 2 defenders so tight the broadcast crew gasped in unison. Suddenly the deficit wasn't a coffin, it was kindling. Momentum tilted in feverish waves. Every Dream run met a Clark counterpunch. Floating scoop off the glass, deep pull-up in transition, precision laser to Aaliyah Boston for an and one. Kelsey Mitchell caught fire, Lexi Hull flew off the bench. Like a spark plug, and the arena roared back to life as the Fever erased double-digit holes. Not once, but twice.
Here is Clark. She's helped Indiana mount this comeback. And the Fever get over the hump. Boston, handoff. Mitchell, right up the middle. She ties the game!
Records toppled in real time. Fastest to 350 assists. 10th 20 and 10 outing in only 42 games. It felt impossible that Indiana could be both history's author and tragedy's victim in the same breath.
Honestly, I give my team a lot of credit, my teammates a lot of credit. We never gave up. We fought. We were right there. We found a way to get back in it. When things didn't seem very good for this group, at least we stayed together and we kept fighting, and that's a positive.
Then came the final 9-second gut punch. Clark inbounded, Natasha Howard rose, Nia Coffey's fingertips found leather, and the ball clanged away with the cruel indifference of fate. 10 missed free throws mocked the box score. A last second block mocked the comeback, and that lone, jagged point mocked everything Clark had just burned into the record books.
They shot 32 free throws. It's a lot of free throws. Going to be difficult to win a lot of games when we foul people that much and put them at the line that much. It's tough. They made 25 out of 32. We still went to the line 26 times, missed 10. So That's the game really right there.
1 point, the thinnest knife edge in sports, turned a masterpiece into a stomach punch. But that's not all. Then social media detonated. Connor McCaffrey, Clark's boyfriend and usually a model of sideline composure, scrolled to X and typed the damning sentence heard round the league. Good to see the Zebras in mid-season form. 20 minutes. Later, the post had thousands of retweets and a flood of slow-motion clips exposing forearm hacks, hip checks, and that swallowed whistle on Clark's fourth quarter three. National broadcasters replayed the evidence in forensic detail. Pundits questioned the crew's composure, and Fever fans turned officiating into a citywide villain.
Boston continues to show her frustration. It really started a couple.
Even Indiana's own huddles crackled with disbelief. Players stealing glances at the Jumbotron, shaking their heads, trying to balance rage with resolve. Every missed call wasn't just a point lost, it was rhythm stolen, pace shattered, and energy siphoned away from a roster already fighting uphill.
Yeah, I mean, to me, challenges cannot take that long. It ruins the flow of the game. I get it, it's early in the year, the refs want to make the right call. We can't sit there for 2.5, 3 minutes and on an obvious hit out of bounds off of them and still not know the call. I get it. There's things to look at. There's the clock. There's is the ball going to be taken out. But that's not the only reason the flow of the game was ruined. But like, we're just standing there. We're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting. And then obviously, like I said, a lot of free throws shot between both teams tonight. That makes the game more choppy when there's a lot of fouls.
Yet amid the chaos, Clark kept her voice measured, telling reporters afterward that challenges cannot take that long. A diplomatic sledgehammer aimed squarely at league headquarters. The fallout was immediate. Whispers of internal reviews, calls for officiating reform, and a league office suddenly sweating under a brighter spotlight than any in-arena strobe. And still, for all the noise, one brutal truth remained. The scoreboard would not change. It gets worse.
I didn't think we were disruptive at all. I felt like we let them move the ball wherever they wanted to. We had a lot of breakdowns in our coverages. You know, we weren't really helping one another out. We played like 5 individuals defensively at times instead of collectively as a unit. And good teams take advantage of that. You know, Atlanta was really good at getting downhill. They knocked down some tough shots, but when you dig yourself a hole, it makes it really difficult to use all your energy to come back.
It wasn't a reckless turnover or a last-second prayer that doomed Indiana. It was the slow, relentless drip of squandered chances from 15 feet. 10 errant freebies, each clank a tiny hammer tapping away at momentum, added up to the exact margin of defeat. The arithmetic is brutal. Convert even half of those misses, and the night's headline reads very differently. Natasha Howard, ice cold all quarter, watched 4 fourth-period attempts ricochet out as if the rim had grown teeth. Aaliyah Boston, exhausted from trading elbows with Brianna Jones, left a pivotal foul shot short, the ball rolling off the lip with cruel indifference.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know, it's every coach's frustration when you have to use challenges on out-of-bounds plays. I mean, it is what it is. But for teams to win 3 challenges in the first half, I don't know that I've ever seen that either.
Coach White later admitted her squad played like 5 individuals, and the film agreed. Hands sagged, rotations lagged, and second efforts died on the vine. When a team's defensive identity flickers on and off, every offensive masterpiece must be perfect. Clark's was spectacular, but imperfection elsewhere left the door wide open. And yet, while Indiana's coverage cracked, Clark was simultaneously carving her name into pages of history most veterans spend decades chasing.
Another second chance opportunity. Clark fire away and knocks down a 3. That is just that signature Caitlin Clark shot. She will launch. Oh, yes!
While Atlanta's offense racked up points, Caitlin Clark spent the same 40 minutes rearranging the WNBA's statistical skyline. Midway through the second quarter, she flicked a no-look laser to Aaliyah Boston and, just like that, became the fastest player ever to 350 assists.
Different times during the game, situational defense will be better because they have all those things. I think that's a combination of why they're going to have a much better defensive effort.
There's Clark with a beautiful find inside to Aaliyah Boston.
The previous best mark lived untouched since 1999. Clark erased it in 42 games. A couple possessions later, she drilled a step back from the parking lot, crossing 800 career points quicker than all but 3 women in league history. By night's end, she owned her 10th 20-point, 10-assist outing, matching Courtney Vandersloot's lifetime total in a sample-size Vandersloot needed 394 appearances to.
Second chance opportunity. Clark fire away and knocks down a 3.
And then right here, boy, you've grown to love watching it.
The spree didn't slow after halftime. A late third period burst, 2 threes wrapped around a wraparound dime to Kelsey Mitchell, pushed Clark past Sabrina Ionescu for solo ownership of the 25+ points, 10+ assists club. She is now the first athlete to seize that level of production 6 separate times, and she has done it before turning 24. Even historians struggled to keep the ticker updated. Fastest, youngest, first to open a season, with consecutive 20 and 10s. Every new possession seemed to unearth another precedent buried in media guide footnotes. Yet the magnitude goes deeper than numbers. It signals a player blending elite playmaking and limitless range shooting in a way no scouting report fully anticipates. When one individual can distort spacing, dictate tempo, and still find teammates. For layups, a franchise's ceiling shifts overnight. As teammates learn her rhythms, the avalanche of milestones only gets steeper.
The other thing they're trying to speak into existence is 6 or 7 players averaging double figures. They believe it.
Backdoor pass there from Clark to Kelsey Mitchell.
The last season and into this year. Such a great backdoor cut.
But achievements alone don't win banners. How do they translate into a future that could terrify the rest of the league? Strip away the last-second heartbreak, and you start to see the blueprint of a contender forming in plain sight. Aaliyah Boston, still only a sophomore herself, bullied her way to 24 points and 10 boards against one of the league's heaviest front courts, showing footwork and touch that scream perennial all WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell's 24-point eruption reminded everyone she's more than a secondary scorer. She's a flamethrower capable of flipping quarters by herself.
Over behind Carl Smesko.
Mitchell with the steal. It's a 3-on-2. Clark back for Mitchell. She will launch and knock down a long 2.
Lexi Hull's infectious energy and on-ball havoc turned stagnant possessions into transition sprints, the kind of bench spark that championship teams lean on in ugly games. Now layer in the veterans, Natasha Howard's Swiss Army defense, Diana Bonner's calming half-court cadence, Sydney Colson's locker room gravitas, and remember that Sophie Cunningham hasn't logged a single minute yet due to injury. Every week of health adds another seasoned voice to huddles that already run. On equal parts swagger and curiosity, the stat trends confirm what the eye test whispers. Indiana's offensive rating is up, assist percentage has spiked, and Clark's gravitational pull is stretching defenses so wide that shooters are enjoying the cleanest looks of their careers. Rotations still hiccup and free throws still clang, but those are chemistry kinks, not talent deficits. They iron out with repetition, not roster overhauls.
There's that track screen.
Bounce it for Boston. Boston lays it in. It's a 2-point game.
They haven't had much of that tonight.
Meanwhile, Clark's once-in-a-generation dual-threat presence means opposing coaches now script entire game plans around a single player, and they still can't contain her without hemorrhaging space elsewhere. That tactical imbalance forces into mismatches Boston exploits, opens baseline cuts for Hull, and keeps Mitchell one relocation away from another microwave burst. Add it up, and the message is chillingly simple. Indiana just shattered 6 records on a night when half its cylinders misfired. When the free throws start falling, when Cunningham returns to bruise wings on both ends, when defensive reads click. From almost to automatic, the Fever's climb up the standings won't be gradual. It'll feel like an elevator ride.
Like I said, it doesn't come down to that. No matter what, if it's a choppy game, we got to find a way to find our flow a little bit better, especially to start the game and start the second half, for sure.
And the league can already feel the floor vibrating beneath them, because the fallout from this one-point epic is about to reach the boardroom and the broadcast booth alike. One blown whistle in a Tuesday night game has never moved the WNBA's seismograph like this. Hours after Clark calmly labeled several calls point-blank mistakes, league officials acknowledged they were evaluating game administration. from the Dream Fever crew, a mid-May audit normally reserved for playoff controversies. The spark was equal parts Coach White's earlier challenges and Connor McCaffrey's 6 million impression tweet roasting the referees, a viral volley that turned routine gripe into national headline. That microscope is magnified by money. Victory Live's latest market scan shows average 2025 ticket prices jumping 43% year over year, climbing from $122 to $173, while Clark-centric dates now float in the $400 to $600 resale stratosphere. Eyeballs are following the dollars. ABC's Fever Sky broadcast 3 days earlier averaged 2.7 million viewers, the most watched regular season WNBA game in 25 years, and a bigger audience than several NBA playoff shoulder programs. That same weekend, every subsequent Indiana telecast is now slotted into national windows, meaning any officiating lapse, replay delay, or on-court altercation plays in front of more households than the league has ever commanded. Sponsors love explosive metrics, until fairness looks negotiable. Reddit threads dissecting frame-by-frame contact on Clark drives amassed thousands of comments overnight, and executives know perception fossilizes faster on social media than in press releases. Reddit, the directive from boardrooms to the league office is blunt: tighten officiating standards, protect competitive integrity, and keep the spectacle clean, because a 43% ticket price bump can vanish as quickly as a timeline. And that brings us to the final takeaway: how one razor-thin loss may still ignite the Dynasty Fever fans are already daring to imagine.
Kelsey and AB and Caitlin have played together, so they have this synergy, and really with DB and with Tosh, like how we bring them into the fold, so to speak, and that's a challenge that we're looking into. We're trying to figure out, shorter stints because it was an up and down game, right? And I felt like Kels, Caitlin, and Lexi were giving us really good stuff, on both ends of the floor, and it's tough when you feel like you're starting to get some momentum to sub. I probably should have subbed a little bit more in that second half, but like the group that was out there.
Zoom out for a moment, strip away the unfavorable whistle, the 10 empty foul shots, the final ricochet off Nia Coffey's fingertips. What remains is the blueprint of a renaissance hiding in plain sight. 6 shattered records prove Clark's ceiling hasn't even come into focus. Boston's interior finesse and Mitchell's perimeter firepower reveal a multi-headed attack that forces defenses to pick a poison and pray. Add improving bench chemistry, veteran grit on standby, and a front office finally armed with national TV leverage, and you begin to understand why a single-point failure might be the best thing that could have happened to Indiana. Pain ignites urgency far better than comfort ever could. Inside the locker room, the lesson is brutally simple. Elite talent alone cannot paper over sloppy rotations or wasted freebies. That truth, etched in a 91-90 box score, will loop on film until every player absorbs it in muscle memory. Coach White already hinted at practice adjustments: shorter stints to keep legs fresh, greater accountability in switch calls, and live ball free throw drills designed to hardwire composure. These tweaks aren't theoretical, they're actionable, immediate, and exactly the kind of marginal gains that turn agonizing losses into season-defining streaks. Meanwhile, the league office feels a different heat. A global audience just watched a superstar lose by a whisker, while slow-motion replays exposed officiating lapses in 4K clarity. If administrators don't respond with more consistent review, protocols, and faster replay decisions, fan faith, now translating into record ratings and soaring ticket revenue, could morph into backlash. Paradoxically, that external pressure accelerates reforms players and coaches have sought for years. In other words, the same one-point defeat that gutted Fever faithful could wind up improving conditions for every athlete who steps onto a WNBA floor. So where does that leave us? Staring at a future balanced on a knife edge. Either the Fever harness the sting of this loss and roar up the standings, or they let history repeat itself in heartbreaking loops. Based on what we've witnessed, Clark's statistical shockwaves, Boston's evolving dominance, Mitchell's scorer's swagger, and an unmistakable hunger pin balling around that locker room, bet against them at your own risk. Because if Indiana can break 6 records on an off night, imagine the seismic shock they'll deliver once free throws drop, rotations click, and whistles fade into background noise. Think about that as the season barrels forward. And if you're as fired up about this ride as we are, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss this the next chapter of an era that might rewrite everything we thought we knew about the W. Buckle up, because this 1-point heartbreak could be the spark that lights a championship fire.